Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you Friday, November the 5th. The year's 2021. Let's talk trading. It's time for the weekly wrap up, and I just realized it's also time, or it's also NFP Day. First Friday of the month where they have NFP, non-farm payroll. As always, these videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. So let's just go ahead and take a look here at the week. As you can see, we had quite the drop on the pound, 178 pips below the open presently, 194 pips off of the high, and 80 pips off of the low. And all but one the pairs filled the gap. The Australian New Zealand dollar failed to fill the gap. Notice here on this chart we've got a missed pivot on the week. And this is a very interesting chart here. We actually broke out of the opening range of the first day of the year, that opening range. And you can see we tore through the opening range of the week yesterday, just obliterated it. So if you go back and look at the year, you can see we're right near that January low, and actually we went through it. So you see we definitely bounced off. But, that's 1, 2, 3 touches to the downside there. I would say it could go down a little bit more, because a lot of times that third time is kind of the final blow that cracks that rock. But we just have to trade what we see. And right now we're 94 pips above that yearly low. And notice we actually went through the inside bar, the monthly inside bar from last month. We actually cracked that by a few pips and then came right back up. Today, we went through the previous day's low, came back in, crossed above the daily open, and we're 9 pips above the daily open. All that movement, 85 pip range. Only 3 pairs over 100 on NFP day. Once again, ranges are being compressed or have been compressed. And that's why we had to make some adjustments, especially to the rat zone. Buy zone stays the same, however. And once again, we miss today's pivot point. We're 49 pips below it. Speaking of rats, the green rats definitely had a chance to grab some cheese here. You can see a second touch. This was NFP release, and then right back up. And once again, if you're having trouble and you're getting cut up in the rat zone, move up to the H1, wait to see, go with the H1 candle color. I've been playing with M30 for a couple of weeks now. It's funny because when I was trading stocks, I didn't like the M30 candle color, and then I came to like it because since stocks markets only really open 6.5 hours, that last hour was always kind of a bastard candle. But if you switched over to M30, you didn't have that problem anymore. And one of the things about M30 is, you basically have the first half and second half of the hour. And it's kind of easy to see which way price is going within that hour. So for example, here last hour, you see price went down, then it came back up. In the second hour, or second half of last hour, it continued. So you can take advantage of a lot of different price action methods when you do this. You can see here we had price went through, covered, broke through the low, returned, got into that upper wick zone, and then just continued right through it. But you can see here from that big drop, it's been recovered. Missed the pivot here. We actually went down to weekly S3, almost S4, and that just doesn't happen that often. So when you see things that don't happen very often, that's when you can take advantage of them. So for example, if you see 3 consecutive missed pivots, that doesn't happen very often. So you know on that 4th day, chances are it's going to hit the pivot. Now, if the pivot's far or close, we don't know, but chances are it's going to hit it. And ditto for, after 2 days of missed pivots, you might want to think about fading the pivot off of the daily open. So you see here for November, so far we've got 2 missed pivots. And the only other missed pivot for this year is way back in June. When you bump it up to the week, you can see this is the only missed pivot so far this year. You have to go back to last year to get a couple weeklies. And monthlies, you have to go all the way back to 2014. So, once again, trading with statistics. Basically, you can use statistics to confirm what you think you see. Okay, we're out of the lower daily wick zone here. The range this week, let me switch over to week. You can see a whopping 274 pips puts us at the 75 percentile. Yesterday's range was at 228, was at the 91 percentile. So you can see most of that range for the week happened yesterday. And that break of the weekly low was good for 244 pips. So taking those breakouts of the daily and weekly once again can prove to be profitable. Let me switch back to the daily here. So you can just look here over here's a today and the previous 4 days. High touch alert. So you can see here that one didn't even make it, but on those days that it broke the low, there was profit to be had. On the days it broke the high, there's a handful of pips there, but the other day, nice break. So a simple trade, something that those traders who go to work every day and can't sit in front of the terminal, it's real easy to place these trades as pending orders. Buy stop, sell stop, put your TP and your stop loss in, and then you can come back and see what happens. Oh, and I had a trader send an email asking if I manage accounts. No, I don't manage accounts. And looking at the price action here from here's yesterday, here's today, you can see we pulled off that bottom. We came back into that lower wick zone right here and then shot right back up. And remember, I like to call the 40s the launch pad. So you see here, it got into the 40, moved up. There was pips to be had, came here. There was about 20 or so pips to be had here. You've got another, 10, 20, almost 30 pips out of that 40 area. And the higher low, lower high trade, once again, is proving to be profitable. You just have to take the trades, and you have to be disciplined. And just to give you a heads up, I was talking to Walmart today because he and I trade this slightly different, and so I got him to or asked him to tell me, his what he uses for a trigger, which is pretty similar to what I did. So I wrote a scalper indicator. So I'll probably show that off next week. And I also wrote a couple other indicators because of something I observed on M30, which it's actually it gives you Vegas odds somewhere around 47 or 48%. But the thing is, you don't have to. Price doesn't have to cover for you to make money, but it's just observing the price action and to see what happens. Let me switch over to M30 so I can kind of tell you what I'm talking about. Let's see. So let's just start from this 3 ball at the bottom. You can see that price came down and then came above. So here's the candle body. Price covered that body. Okay, so there's one cover. Failed to cover here. This one covered the body. So there's a cover. Failed to cover, covered the body. Here we go here. We covered the body. Failed to cover. Here we covered the body again. Failed to cover. We covered the body again. So you can see here on M30, it failed to make a new low, came back up. If you put your trade on just right here, there's a chance it could cover that body. And so that's what I was looking at. So here's the same thing. It came down, failed to make a new low, it covered that body. Here it came down, made a new low, but then it put in a 3-ball, it covered that body. So this is something that you can do going forward. So right now you put in a 2-ball and it's coming back down. So who knows? Maybe it covers the body, maybe it doesn't. But the point is, there's money to be made off of that trade. And if we switch back to M1, you can see we had the higher low here. So we had a close within the box. We had an open within the box. You go short, and right now you're up about 3.7 pips. Now, once again, a lot of people will, say, oh, that's nothing. But if you're trading some size, it adds up. I mean, even if you were just trading, $10 a pip, I mean, that's $30. How many times do you have to do that a day till you're happy? I mean, if you do that once an hour, do you make $30 an hour at your day job? And it was funny because I was talking with Walmart, and he said, trading isn't a job, but it's work. They're not one and the same. And if I get him on next week, we might discuss that. And as you can see here, price just covered that body. But on the 1 and 5 minute time frames, that coverage doesn't work very well. But if you sit down and you're trading, you have to think about how much you want to make an hour. Do you want to work for minimum wage? Do you want to try and make $100 an hour? $50 an hour, $500 an hour? What is it that you're trying to accomplish when you sit down and begin your trade? And right here, you can see here, that body just got covered. But like I said, I usually don't look at it for coverage on the M1, more on M30 or M15 at least. So, fellow traders, that's it. I hope you had a profitable NFP. Hope you had a profitable week and a profitable month so far. And I wish you a fun and safe weekend. And when you come back to your trading terminal, always remember, never forget, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So train the banks. This is TheRumpledOne, over and out.